Welcome to the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, where we break down what it really takes to win in short-term rentals in today's market. From insider tips and emerging trends to real conversations with top playmakers in the space, this show gives you the tools, strategies, and mindset to build and scale a successful short-term rental business. Now, here's your host, Joe Roney.
Today's episode is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents, the short-term rental real estate experts helping investors find profitable vacation rental properties nationwide. If you're serious about scaling your STR portfolio, Savvy STR Agents should be your first call.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast. Just wanted to get on here and jam today and talk a little bit about, what's happening in the short-term rental industry right now and where you can be successful this year and some of the different things that are happening. So one of the things I really wanted to kind of chat about today is, you hear a lot of these influencers and gurus of, I'm going to give you the top 5 markets to invest in. I'm going to give you the top 10 markets to invest in. Email me your list or give me your name and I'll tell you the place that you invest in. I want to be honest with you. I think it's BS, right? Because by the time they give you that list, they've already invested there and they're making money there. And now you're coming in to bring in more short-term rentals, which is going to help them out, right? And I love these influencers. Don't get me wrong. I love every single one of them. But if you're following an influencer on where to invest, you're doing it wrong. If you're waiting for somebody to say, invest in this market or invest in that market, I promise you, you are not going to see the returns that you thought. And there's some few people that invested in some really different places over the past few years that they were told they were going to have, it's the up and coming market and they were going to have these big returns and all this great stuff. And guess what? It didn't happen. And they started not making as much money as they thought. And they put all this money in design and amenities and all these things, and they're still not, maybe they're above average, but they're not crushing it, right? Because, even though there are 13,000 vacation rental markets in the United States, and you can invest in every single one of those and be successful, you're going to be the most successful when you invest in somewhere that you love, that you want to put your heart into, and that has, I'll be honest, traffic drivers. And I go back to when I first jumped into the short-term industry, some of these influencers that I'm talking about back then were saying, don't invest anywhere unless it has a minimum of 3 or 5 traffic drivers. And I'll be honest, I still think that is the best case scenario to this day. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get that, weird, tree house in the middle of Missouri right now that's doing $200,000+ a year because it's very unique and it's 2 hours from downtown. Yes, unique's going to sell, experience are going to sell, but if you're a short-term rental investor and you're just wanting to get into a market that can be profitable, it's okay to go where other people are going, but it's more important to go where your guests are going. And, you got to be looking at how many people are coming into your market, how many people are traveling there, where are they coming from, when are they coming, and what that market looks like. Because if you're just going to this new up-and-coming market that maybe might have a theme park in 5 years from now, and then all of a sudden things change and that theme park's no longer coming, guess what? It's still not a great place to invest. Example is, about 4 years ago, there was an announcement of a theme park in Oklahoma. And here we are 4 years later, and a lot of people invested in that market thinking that theme park was coming, and it may still be coming. I don't know. I haven't actually pulled up recent, but it's not done. And we're 4 years later. And if you bought 4 years ago because of this up and coming theme park, guess what? You're losing money. So yes, it is best to beat the curve. If you know for a fact this is going to be a great market or there's something already under construction that's happening in this market, it's good to beat the curve and get in there before prices explode. But, a great prime example is it used to be a great place to invest in Blue Ridge Mountains, Georgia. And then during the COVID rush, everybody was leaving Atlanta to go to Blue Ridge and there wasn't enough properties. There are still some really great properties in Blue Ridge, Georgia, doing tons of money. And you could even buy there today and crush your design and still make really good money. But the people that got weeded out, or the people that bought Blue Ridge, Georgia houses, didn't do anything to their property. And now traffic has slowly gone down a little bit. The best properties are still performing. The ones that are average are not. So when you're thinking about where to invest, and at Savvy, we get calls every day. You know, we have a whole internal sales team that talks to investors every day, and we do a market match. Okay, how much money do you have? What's your down payment? What's your budget? And then from there, and what do you like? Like what kind of area would you want to invest in? And then from there, they say, go talk to these 2 or 3 different agents about their markets and see if that works for you and you can find a property. And guess what? We don't just tell them to go look in one market. We're helping them in 3 or 4 different markets at a time, because when a great deal comes up, you got to jump on it. So if you're looking for that new short-term rental and you're just looking in one specific market and you're, laser focused in that market, you could be missing the boat, because that great deal could have just came up in another market that's not too far away. That is an area that you also wanted to invest in. So, as much as we love the influencers in the space, and they truly do have our best interests in a way as investors to give good advice, tons of free information, tons of value add information. And it's been really great to have all these people that are influencing the space to drive people into this industry, which can be life-changing. It doesn't mean they always have the best information. And they are human, just like I'm human and you're human. And we take the data that we have and we try to make the best decisions, but it can't always be just data, right? You do have to you do want to look at data. You do want to look at your market. You do want to look at views. You want to look at everything all in before you're making that decision on where you're going with a short-term rental, whether you're going into a new market or expanding in the market that you've been in. My team leader, Tyler Kuhn, has, repeatedly said he'd like to invest in other markets, but he keeps crushing it right in his backyard in Asheville, North Carolina. And every time he buys new property, he's making tons of money on it. So he's like, why do I need to invest in another market when I keep doing what I want right here? Now we're going to talk about getting him a beach house this year. But it's okay to invest more in one market. If you know the market, you know what works for you, you have your team and your boots on the ground, why go reinvent the wheel? If you're strictly looking for investment and money to bring back to you. Now, we have goals, my wife and I, to have multiple short-term rentals in multiple markets on places we want to go. We want to go in a mountain market, and we want to go in a secondary beach market, and we'd like to have a lake market, short-term rental. And we're exploring those opportunities as we grow our portfolio, but we also still want more in Panama City Beach because we love it there and we love the ROI there and the opportunities that it brings us. And we're seeing traffic increase year after year after year with all the different things that are coming into our market, from the Dolly Parton Dinner Theater to the new Tootsie's Country Western Bar to the new Compass Hotel that's getting ready to break ground. There's just so much opportunity, which is driving more traffic into our market. So we can keep finding great deals in the market that we're already in that is going to bring us the returns that we want, the cash flow that we're looking for, and the appreciation. So, as you're in your search for your newest short-term rental this year, or maybe it's your first short-term rental, don't put all your eggs just in one basket, and don't listen to an influencer to tell you where to go. Do your own research. Don't listen to your realtor all the time. The majority of them do have your best interest, especially if you're using one of the Savvy agents or an STR-focused agent. But they also, some of them are looking at the sale. A lot of the realtors out there are looking at a sale. They're not looking at your best interest all the time. So you've got to do your own due diligence. You have to do your own research. You have to understand where you're investing and not just trust somebody on a podcast that this is where you should go. So that's my little tidbit for today. It is, we're right in the heart of spring real estate selling season. If you want to buy a short-term rental and make money this summer, it's not too late, because you can be in the space by mid to late April or early May and still take advantage of Memorial Day through Labor Day, make some money this year, take advantage of that cost segregation at the end of the year, get that money in the bank account to get you through the off season. So it's a great time to buy, but just make sure you're making a good decision all the way around. That's all I got for this week on the Short Term Rental Playmaker podcast. Happy house hunting, and give me a call if you got any questions.